We love getting your feedback. Today's episode is a direct result of a Facebook comment Jim received recently. You told us you wanted to go deeper into the topic of some creative ways to move your slow-moving inventory. I still need to know what to do with all those thousands of dog dishes I bought. Go listen to episode number 17 if you don't know what I mean. And now, here's your host, Jim Cockrum.
Yes, that was Sam, and yes, I am Jim, and yes, thank you very much, listener, for being here with us today, my friend. This is Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm your host, Jim, and I'm having a blast. Someone made the comment in our Facebook group, I'm like a kid in a candy store on this thing. That's because I really am having fun. I truly believe in my core, this is what I am meant for. This is my God-given calling. You've heard me call this my ministry. I love doing this. I take this very seriously, and I listen to your feedback. We had someone mention after a recent show, it was part 1 of a show on the topic of how to sell more of your products on Amazon. And I basically spent the entire mini episode talking to you about how you could have avoided a situation where you bought some of the wrong stuff. Well, the fact is, a lot of us have bought stuff that we just can't move now. And so this kind listener pointed out very politely in our Facebook group that I really hadn't given a whole lot of ideas for those of you who had already, it was kind of too late. You'd bought a bunch of stuff and it just wasn't moving, which is all of us at some point, right? We've all been in that scenario. So I wanted to spend a show and call it part 2 of that same topic, where I actually talk about how to move some of that hard to move stuff. I actually heard from one of our great sponsors too, who reminded me they have a tremendous service they can offer those of you who are having a rough time. So let's dive into that a little bit today. And perhaps you'll have more ideas to add to this list as well. So come join the conversation in our free Facebook group. There's a link in the show notes to every episode. And if you go to silentjim.com, you can get the show notes for this episode plus any other. All the links I'm going to mention today, all the resources I'm going to mention, it's all in there. And there's some really cool ideas. Now, a lot of times, and like we say all the time, I'm going to be a little repetitive here, reference the last episode where we talked on this topic just a little bit and remind you that you make your money when you buy your inventory. And what that means is don't go around just buying stuff because you have a good feeling about it, remember? But if you have done that, or if the market changed, or if competitors suddenly rush in and you find yourself unable to compete and you've got this stuff, well, just like with buying a stock, sometimes you got to know when to cut your losses, and that means just dropping your prices and trying to sell it. Well, what creative ways do we have to protect your profits or hopefully maintain your investment to the greatest degree possible when you find yourself with a bunch of inventory that you're struggling to move? Here are some ideas, and hopefully there's a few in here that you're not familiar with. I'll start with some of them that maybe you haven't played around with a whole lot. And there'll be a link to this in the show notes. Go to silentjim.com. But there's a video I recently made. It's just a couple minutes long that introduces Facebook Marketplace. Now, we'll probably do a whole episode on this because it's kind of an exciting thing. If you're familiar with how Craigslist works, this is Facebook basically taking a stab at Craigslist and saying, hey, we can do Craigslist better than Craigslist can. Because everybody's already spending all day, every day on Facebook. So let's just put a little free marketplace in there. Yes, it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. The only way you can see it is if you have the Facebook app on your smartphone. And it's not everywhere yet. So if you have the Facebook app, I'm not talking about going to facebook.com on the browser on your phone. I'm talking about installing the Facebook app and then making sure you have the most recent version. And if you do that and you go to the homepage in Facebook, you'll see this little hut looking thing and you click in it. And I've got a 3-minute video that walks you through how to use Facebook Marketplace and how to begin selling there. We've got people in our community that are doing really well. Our soon to launch Silent Sales Machine Insiders.com. That's for people who want just a little more in-depth interaction. Like, this podcast is me talking to a bunch of people. If you want to get in there and interact with our leadership team and ask questions and have us in there live interacting with you, well, we're going to be talking about these kinds of topics and going in depth and doing webinars several a month with our team, leading them with Brett and I and Nathan and all these guys. And this is one of the topics we have slated, is to go into some people who are having success with Facebook Marketplace and how they've set it up. Because it is, like I said, it's a lot like Craigslist, meaning you're dealing with local people. You can deal with people within a wide range around you, and they can look and search. And I suggest you go in and try to buy something using Facebook Marketplace to experience what it looks like from their vantage point. It's a lot of cash transactions. We have someone in our community, we'll interview her soon, but I talked to her on the phone about how she does it. And she just has a cash drop box on her front porch. People swing by. She uses the honor system, and they pick up the item. Now, I wouldn't recommend that necessarily as the only option. You have to really know, like, and trust your neighbors and the people around you. I like meeting in a good, safe place when I do cash transactions with people. A McDonald's parking lot, for example. A lot of cities now have the police have set up, and you could request your police department to set this up. They just put a little sign in their parking lot that says, this area is video monitored and specifically designated for cash exchanges of items bought online. It's just a simple little sign. You can convince your city to put that in the police parking lot. Pretty cool idea, huh? But those are the kind of places you can do these cash transactions. Now, don't do them yourself all day, every day. Hire a kid or someone you trust to do these. Have a certain designated time once or twice a week where you go and you meet the people who've bought stuff. Maybe, you can get creative with it. But the main thing I'm saying, I'm not going to spend this much time on every point, but you can get creative with liquidating your inventory locally. Don't neglect local. Put it into bundles and stick it on eBay. Hey, we've got a lot of 50 widgets, 50 of them. Stick it on eBay and start an auction and get rid of it. So the answer isn't always, let's get more creative on Amazon and see what we can do on Amazon. That's not always the answer, guys. Sometimes it's time to liquidate, to take your losses maybe a little bit, gift some of it out, maybe donate it to a charity and take the tax write-off. These are some creative options that we all have. Now, if you haven't tested paid ads on Amazon for your product yet, you can probably play around with that a little bit, although it's a good way to lose a lot of money. So make sure when you start playing with paid ads that you set your daily budget and you keep an eye on your conversion rate. This isn't hard to do, okay? We do have a course, the Proven Performance Inventory course. We'll stick that in the show notes too, that walks you through how to use paid ads the right way. But if you're just talking about testing out and trying to move some slow-moving widgets, why not? Set up an ad. Throw it out there. See what happens. Maybe you will start moving some. Maybe the return on investment will be good, but don't play around with it for more than, you should know within $40 or $50 spent if you're onto an ad that's going to work or not. You don't need to spend a lot of money to test out paid ads. Just make sure you